Stop, let this shit slide and get your lick back. And get your lick back. Get your lick back. If a nigga owe you something, ain't no chit chat. Better stay up out the way, don't get your issue splat. Stop, let this shit slide and get your lick back. And get your lick back. I feel like I'm JX. J-Way. I'm a perfectionist. Adderall got me restless. I'm gone. Run with a wild crew, they get reckless. Young boy, come up off that neck. Give me that. To the trends. See you, Lee, be the band.
Good evening and welcome to another episode of Corner to Copa. The Detroit Tigers kind of get brought back to earth a little bit to end the to end the weekend series and end the first half of the season. They will certainly be heading into the second half with a bit of a chip on their shoulder because we were on a hell of a tear. I think we rattled off two sweeps before the Philly came, headed into town, and we knew it was going to be a tough test. A lot of top tier pitchers, Sanchez, Wheeler, and yeah, we got humbled a little bit, but we'll get to the Philly series. We'll start it off talking about the Sacramento, I almost said Kings, the Sacramento Athletics or Vegas Athletics or Oakland, whatever they're called. Obviously two teams that appear to be heading in opposite direction. The A's have struggled as of late, and we swept them up at home. So what did you see in that series? That was a pretty fun and exciting series. Usually, the Athletics usually give us some trouble, but we made pretty good work of them. What did you see in that series?
Pitching. I mean, the trend from June continued. 4 runs allowed, whether earned or not, just total runs in that series was impressive. Took advantage of a team, like you said, that was down, kind of riddled with some injuries, but they're getting paid handsomely, so I don't feel too bad for them. It was some clutch hits. Jake Rogers, McKinstry, those 2 bats came alive in this series. Multiple runs driven in, home runs from each, and actually Rogers with a couple home runs during the week. Albeit he had that hot streak after Dingler had the scare with the redirected foul ball that smashed into his hand and thumb, which I was surprised when he came back out to give it a go. And then when he left, I'm thinking bad, like, damn, the adrenaline's wearing off. He's really starting to feel it. This could be a break or fracture based on the fact that it landed directly on top of that thumb where it's so easy to break a bone in there. But he's day to day, and actually he just came back yesterday, right? As well. So all in all, after a couple of days scared, good for him. If anything, I figured they would hold him out entirely instead of them putting him on the IL, so that way he could be ready for the first series to come back and not have to miss any calendar extra days beyond that. But starting pitching was great. Framber had a good bounce back, solid. Finally needed that 9 Ks, I think in 7 innings. What do you have here? 3 hits, 1 earned run, no walks. I mean, that's probably the best start I feel like he's had all year. I mean, that is ace stuff right there. I mean, and it's kind of not the 9 Ks, but Montero has gone through 7 like that. So good to see. Melton also 9 Ks very next night. I think all 3 starters had 9+ Ks. So you're talking about a string of starting pitching dominance from those guys. Torkelson had a clutch home run, insurance late in game 2. Colt went deep in game 3. Vierling had a couple RBIs. And I think the story to highlight the end of that series was the, debut of Eduardo Valencia, albeit because of the injury to Dingler. And we'll tease into the roster part on that a little bit later. But all in all, some clutch hits, but the pitching held it down. The bullpen did its job too. So they did what they were supposed to against the A's.
Yeah, that's the A's are definitely a young, aggressive group. So they were definitely up there, taking their best hacks. And the pitching staff has been really good as of late. Game 1 was highlighted by some errors. I think they had it was a pop-up that landed right in between the rookie Kuroda and Lawrence Butler that kind of snowballed into a nice little a nice set of runs for us. But yeah, like you talked about, the Dingler injury was definitely scary. But Jake Rogers, he just stepped right in. Like it was almost as if he just took right over. Like I think he had like 8. I think he reached base like 8 straight appearances, something crazy like that. And then I think the scare for me was, although we've been preluding to Eduardo Valencia, he had been on a nice little run in AAA, that his day was coming. So when I saw Eduardo Valencia, my first thought was, oh, this must be right before the All-Star break. This must be Dingler headed to the IL. So, luckily that wasn't the case, but yeah, I got to see Valencia's debut live, and it was electric, and it was of course, first at bat, I think the first pitch he saw, he sprayed it to the right, to the right hand side, and it was like, oh, okay, oh, all right, foul ball, but yeah, 2-1 count. He sends the ball 420 feet. The crowd's going crazy. He throws the heart up, and makes his way around the bases. But it was funny because you could tell he was really soaking in the moment on the second at bat. Because of course everybody's is really cheering now because he hit the home run, and so you see him look up at the scoreboard, and he sees himself in the scoreboard, and he just he couldn't help but just smile, like, wow, this is really, I mean, that surreal moment where you're like, okay, wow, there's really 20,000 people here cheering for me, and and I'm on the screen looking at myself. I mean, that's got to be the most mind-blowing as a young player. And he's been in the system for quite some time, and he's had some up and down moments. He's had some injuries. He's changed his swing. He's changed his body. He lost some weight. So there's already the memes and side by sides of him and Miguel Cabrera. I'm not gonna lie, the stance is very similar. Like, it's the body type. Obviously, Cabrera put on some weight later in his career, but yeah, he there's some resemblance there, and I'm certain they've had their own conversations, and he's taken some pointers from him. So, and come to find out, he's actually really close with Kerry Carpenter. If you think about it, they're the same age, and they came up in the system around the same time. A little bit of a slower track for him, but pretty random. You're not necessarily thinking that because Kerry's been up here for a while. But so yeah, that was a really cool moment. He hit his second home run yesterday, and in between that, he had a double as well. So he's really asserted himself. We'll tell you a little bit who the corresponding move was to put him on the 40-man roster. But outside of that, Zach McKinstry had some pretty big hits this week. He's really needed that. He struggled a lot this year. Yeah. We already talked about Jake Rogers, had a couple home runs, and let's get to this. Let's get to the Philly series. So started out great. We were all jacked about this series. Philly's been on a bit of a hot streak. Obviously, we've been on a hot streak, so it was like two immovable objects. Headed right at each other right before our all-stars head off to Philly. So but yeah, game one, I think we scored 10 runs in the first game.
Yeah, 10-1 against, or 10-2 against Aaron Nola.
Yeah, Aaron Nola, yeah, who I think has been. I think he's, we know him to be a pretty top-notch pitcher, but he didn't even get the loss. So it sounds like we must have jumped on that bullpen. Yeah, he only gave up 2 earned runs. The loser was Mesa, whatever his first name is. So Aaron Nola actually had a pretty decent game. Jack Flaherty, continues to, now it wasn't great because I feel like we had some words for him early in the game, because as he does always, makes things interesting. He had 3 walks, gave up a home run. But that was it. Those were the only 2 runs. Oh, Waguspec. And I got to figure out how to say his name. Waguspec. But he has quietly been one of our Jacob Waguspec, 32 years old. But yeah, he's quietly been our one of our most dependable bullpen arms. He's got a 1.46 ERA and 9 appearances. He pitched I guess just 2/3 of an inning. But it got ugly pretty fast. I mentioned something about Bo Brisky. You were like, is he even back? I'm like, no, he only pitches when, in pretty much garbage situations. Either we're getting killed or we're doing the killing. And for the most part, we stay in games. We don't really have rough games. I think not since the Texas series, and a lot of May. But even then, we had a lot of close games that we lost. But at any rate, we did get a chance to see Bo Brisky. He closed out the game and made a nice little, a Willie Mays over the shoulder catch to end the.
That picture I saw on ESPN, all 3 of them with different poses. I was like, I was thinking of the old time skit. Who's on first? Everyone's doing a different, facial expression. Almost brought me back to the trend of the Harlem Shake, where they're all frozen and the next thing you know, they're all dancing.
Right.
What it reminded me of.
Yeah, he really wanted that game to end because it probably wasn't a ball that he should have been chasing after, but up 8 runs, I guess it really didn't matter. So he sealed the deal. And that was game 1. Everybody got a piece of the action in that game. I think did Torque hit a home run? Looks like, yeah, we had.
He hit one in game. Yes.
Yeah, he did.
Yeah.
Or whatever. Colt Keith definitely got one. McGonigal hit a home run to opposite field. Yeah, Torque did hit one. We know Torque is good for the, the home run when there's, little to no pressure. But yes, there was 2 more games after that. And we fell in both those games by a score of, let's pull it up here, Saturday, 4-2. And today we lost 5-0, got blanked today. So what did you see beyond game 1? Obviously game 1 being the highlight of the weekend.
I mean, we noted it last week and we talked about it offline that this weekend was going to be a big matchup on paper, especially just for the starting pitching alone, because it was the best of the best between both clubs. And, and if this was the beginning of the season with the expectations and the buzz that the Tigers had carrying over from last season, I think you would say this could potentially be a top 2-3 AL team against a top 2-3 NL team, especially with respect to Philly, and they're loaded. No, I'm not going to BS anyone here. They have established studs in the rotation. They've got our former divisional rival closer, Johan Duran, who they got last year from the Twins, who's absolutely phenomenal this year. I don't think there should be any other closer that should win closer of the year right now. This guy is untouchable right now with disgusting stuff. And then just to start, it's like Aaron Nola, like you said, is older, just a couple of years under Verlander. They kind of came in around the same time, within a few years of each other. So they're both kind of on their last legs-ish. But although Nola had a fairly respectable outing, but Sanchez and Wheeler, man, we said it when he turned down the All-Star 5th option snub this morning, and I'm like, or last night, I'm like, this guy's gonna come out and just throw gas, no breaks. And sure enough, he dropped 10 on him today. And Christopher Sanchez continues to be a second favorite or short favorite for the NL Cy Young, and he proved why he was so good yesterday. I don't think he gave up more than 1 run, left with the lead, a little bit laborious, but he racked up the Ks, and the bullpen got him out of it, and they got that win. So I was hoping we could take 2 out of 3 to go 5-1 in the week. That was kind of the marker I was hoping to hit. Just because, the 2 losses they had today and yesterday, they kind of fallen a little bit back. So I think since the beginning of June, they're now 23-13, but the win percentage since then doesn't really equal the May that they had. So that's kind of the reason why I was hoping they could balance some of that out. But all in all, this week was a good continue to win series. So it's gonna turns up the intrigueness factor, I guess, if you will, on the trade deadline that's now largely looming in front of Major League GMs right after this All-Star break.
Yeah, and you talked about Duran. Yeah, he's definitely electric. I mean, I got a chance to watch him pitch in Minnesota, and that was definitely a sight to see. But I just couldn't help but think to myself, it must be nice to have a dominant closer that you don't have to worry about, because it was a good game all in all on Thursday, but Kenley Jansen gave up a couple rockets that just luckily were right at somebody to save that game. So still, that's one portion of our team that is going to have to be shored up if we even care to think about trying to win anything this year. Because Jansen is just I don't know, just he's not what he used to be, just not dominant enough that sinker, if it's not placed in the exact right location, they tend to put some pretty good barrels on it. So but yeah, as it stands right now, the Tigers, I think, are like 6 games out of first place in our division and only 3.5 back of the last wild card spot. We still got the Minnesota Twins hanging around. They're actually tied for the last spot. And they just made a little trade, nothing, I wouldn't call it a buy for a trade, but I don't think they're going to just go out like that. Even to this moment, the Tigers are, the Boston Red Sox have actually passed us for the second best win differential. No, not win differential, run differential in the American League. But yeah, we were holding on for a while, despite being as it stands right now, 8 games under 500. But when you have 10-2 games in game 1 of your series, you're going to gain some runs on the run differential category. You got Brahim. I don't know. I can't. I tried.
Man, Abraham.
But we're going to get to the first break and get to the next portion of the show. So stay tuned. Maybe. All right, so we teased the roster move of all roster moves. Coach, let us know what we got going on.
Yeah, it was not really too busy of a week overall, but there were some very eyebrow-raising moves here. So on the 6th, this one flew under the radar. I didn't even see this. I don't even think their Tigers PR on X posted this, which is really unusual. They signed to a minor league contract outfielder Raylan Castillo back on the 6th. There's no follow-up in terms of where he's been assigned yet, so I think they're still waiting on that. They gave an update on the 7th of Job, who was sent down to Lakeland for an extended rehab. It's probably still going to be about a month and a half before he's probably cleared. He's got to build himself up. He's not pitching 6-7 innings right out of the gate at 90 pitches an outing. So this is going to be his extended or crash course spring training in hopes that we are still in a position to battle to then bring him on board when he is good, ready, and cleared to go, which would then create another domino effect in the bullpen or the rotation for sure. Because now you're going to have a gluttony of starters, and I still consider Montero a starter. Let's call it what it is. He's done some nice bullpen work, but the guy he's got the stamina to go 6, 7, 8 innings if he has to. So Verlander on the 8th, as we all know now, announced his formal retirement at the season end after being announced by the Major League front office and commissioner as a Legends pick to the All-Star game. So I really don't think he's playing since he's got a, quote, extra player. I think it's just more of an honorary tab by the commissioner to give him his flowers in Philly just because, he's had one start this year and it wasn't in Detroit. So we haven't even seen him in his salt and pepper beard pitch back in an old English D uniform. So cool moment for him and the family and the franchise for all the years he's put in and definitely a first ballot, and I'd have to say unanimous Hall of Fame. If there's a singular writer out there who's got to stick up his butt, just ignore it and vote him in. There's no reason not to. One of two pitchers all time to win Cy Young, Rookie of the Year, and MVP, which is incredible among the other list of accolades for JV. So it sounds like there's still a chance he might come out and pitch one game in Detroit, but that's TBD at the moment. With that, the day after, with the injury to Dingler, they called up Valencia and the release outright of Jahmai Jones, which we probably have felt was weeks overdue. He had 2 hits collectively since May 29th and got a start earlier in the week against, I think it was the A's, and did nothing with it. And since he's a defensive liability and he's only on to hit lefties and he ain't hitting lefties, it was time. But here's the thing. He's already been sent down and cut twice, and no one's claimed him. So I see him going right back to Toledo as a result. I don't know if anyone's going to put a claim on him. But speaking of claims, on the 11th, Harris claimed right-hand pitcher Andre Granillo off waivers from Washington and assigned him to Toledo. So sounds like some additional bullpen help down in Toledo in the event of an emergency at the parent club. But that is it in terms of injuries and roster transactions.
Now I have a question. Do you think that the Dingler scare or the little bit, the nick up, do you think that had something to do with it actually being Valencia, or was that something that they were, because you think, because I know we did get a chance to play catcher. He did, play in the field on Saturday, but I just kind of figured it was, I kind of just figured they were just done with the whole, Jones situation, but maybe it was just convenient and with everything going on.
Well, I think it was a combination. He's a righty bat, and today I think he did exactly what Jahmai would have done. He pinch hit for Carey, as you mentioned earlier, how they're close. The irony of that now Valencia's pinch hitting or vice versa, that platoon combo with Carey, even though he doesn't play the outfield, but when Carey DHs, you can do that with him. And I don't think they wanted to start Jake at catcher again, considering the day before earlier in the A series. Boy, he got ran on. He's been run on quite a bit in the handful of starts he's had in the last month, which is very unusual, unlike him. Now, I'm not going to put all of them on him, especially you get Kenley Jansen out there. He ain't picking anyone off. No one's throwing anyone out. His delivery time is so slow that even Pudge wouldn't be able to throw someone out down at second with him. So, but I think they wanted to just see how he would perform against a very good Philly team. And I think I mentioned offline, it wasn't going to kill him for getting, torn to pieces on the base path. But he did throw finally, I think on the 4th attempt, he finally got a runner out. And I don't think they ran on him the rest of the way. But frankly, he's there for his bat. That's what they need it for. So, and that made the most sense because you're not going to bring up the Max Clark or anyone like that. It's another lefty in the outfield. And to your point about catcher, you needed a second catcher because Nito is not on the 40-man. He's only a minor leaguer. So you would had to have done the same thing. But, Nito, I don't think is the strongest defensive catcher. But
he's got a Gold Glove in his heyday, but not right now.
But I also don't know how he's been the last probably month and a half in Toledo from a hitter. I'm basing it mostly off what we saw last year and in spring training the year before, where he hit 350 to make the team originally. So it's good insurance policy to have Nito down there. But I think Valencia, to your point, those 2 home runs he hit, those are Miggy territory home runs. To your point too about his swing, he went 425 to dead center, jaw dropper, and then he went to the deepest part in right center over the scoreboard. This kid's got some gross power, and we're here for it.
Absolutely. And so as far as Valencia, the first couple of times he got ran on, it was Derek Hill, who we didn't even talk about him, but diving catches. And I think he hit a home run. He did a little bit of everything. If you don't think that these guys wake up for certain games, and you're like, no, I gotta let them know, what it is. And but yeah, he's manning center field, and he's running around Comerica Park like this is where I should have been. But yeah, he ran on Valencia at second base, and then at third, they should have reviewed it because he actually threw him out. They called him safe, but he should have been out, and he was the first run scored against Casey Mize. Granted, it was 4-2. I mean, that run maybe could have, because that was the first run of the day that we gave up. But yeah, unfortunate situation. But other than that, I can't be a good judgment really of how he called the game per se. But I think that one more so came down to the bats and a couple missed opportunities. Torkelson continues. You showed me the graphic. I wish I would have had it up, but yeah, he continues to ground into double plays like it's his job. And when the bases are loaded, you can just pretty much, pack it up. He's hitting what 078 or something with the bases loaded. I mean, normally because I mean that's a tough spot to be at for a pitcher. So normally people's averages are pretty high with the bases loaded, because there's just so many things that can go wrong. But even the fielding alignment is, ideal, I would think. But yeah, Torque, I mean, he hits his home runs here and there. He's gonna have another 30 this year. It's gonna look real nice on paper, but when you really start digging into what's going on, he is, he's just not a middle of the lineup hitter. It's just not. He's gonna hit you some solo home runs here and there, but when it really matters the most, his approach is just all out of whack. I don't know if he's just trying to pull the ball too much or what it is, but yeah, he's just rolling over and grounding into too many double plays, or just plain not getting the job done, however it looks. So that's another thing. Yeah. Oh, so we got way off track. Let's quickly get to the minor league report. Max Clark continues to rake when he plays in Indiana. It's very unfortunate that the major leagues doesn't have a team in Indiana, because I think that he would be, an all-star off that alone. But he had a 2-run home run, 102 off the bat. I think 380 some feet. And that was a couple days ago. Bo Akeney hit a couple home runs during the week. He's currently in Lakeland and will likely be getting that call up soon to high A. He's got 15 home runs this year. Bryce Rainier had a crazy game this week. He had five hits, including a home run and 6 RBIs. He continues to rake and be another candidate to be moved up, possibly to Erie. And Max Anderson was selected to the Futures game. He replaced Thayron Lorenzo. I think he only went 0 for 1. He got 2 at bats. One was a walk and one was a lazy fly out. But he continues to make his own bid to get that advancement, that promotion to the major league level. He's kind of accomplished pretty much everything that he can as he could at the minor league level, and had a great Arizona Fall League, and yeah, the next step is making that debut. So we'll see when that happens. Actually, gonna have some a middle infielder returning soon, probably. So that certainly won't help his cause, but yeah, I'm sure. I don't know. I don't know if we'll see him this year. It's a possibility. But yeah, outside of that, I won't bore you guys with all the draft picks. Obviously, we can't get to that. But one thing that I can say is that the Scott Harris broke the trend. He actually drafted in the first round for the first time since Casey Mize, a college starting pitcher, and his name is Cameron Fluke. He's a hard-throwing right-handed pitcher. He went to Coastal Carolina, and I think he was hurt for a part of last year, so he didn't pitch he's healthy now, but he didn't pitch very much this year. So they said that they might, he might make a appearance or two at the low levels of the minor leagues this year, but a little bit older. He's his trajectory and his road to the major leagues will be a little bit quicker likely than our normal guys, because we normally pick high school guys, but we didn't actually pick anybody from high school until the 4th round. So Got a couple shortstops in there, which is, very reminiscent of what we do. But we went the college route, which is what, going into it, I was thinking we need to find somebody in high school. I mean, not in high school, somebody out of college, and hopefully a pitcher, because we don't have a lot of, we're very top heavy. You got your Briseños, you got your Andersons, you got your Clarks, you got your, Rainiers, guys like that. But we don't have a lot of high ceiling pitchers within our, within our prospect class. So, I think they did a pretty good job of, mixing things up with with some college guys and some righties, because we got a bunch of lefties. I mean, Max Anderson's a righty, but he kind of took off. Obviously, McGonigal has graduated, so he's no longer somebody that gets counted in the prospect grading. So, had to retool the prospect list a little bit. But that's enough of the prospects. Let's talk about what's going on. Let's talk pitching. The announcement has been made that we are going to be moving to a six pitching rotation after the All-Star game. Coach, if you're watching right now, Coach got it written all over his face. But first of all, who are the six pitchers that we're talking about here?
I mean, it's Melton, Mize, Montero, Skubal, Fromber, and Jack. That's your six, and that's not counting before anyone else potentially could come back in the next 30 to 60 days too.
Right. So that means less starts for our everybody, obviously, because we're stretching it out a little bit. Do you see any pros to this? I mean, everybody's pretty much pulling their own weight. There's not one person that I can genuinely say is holding us back, even Flaherty. So I guess that's one positive, that everybody should be a little bit fresher. Skubal, he only went how many? I know he went. He faced one hitter before getting pulled today. He went like 9 innings. I mean, 9.
Yeah.
Not 9. 9 nothing.
I
think he went 5 innings. Yeah, 5 plus. 90 is what I was thinking. He was like 96 pitches or something like that.
Yeah.
So,
well, I heard on the radio too that he did not look happy when Hinch came out too. I don't know if you saw that, but the reaction from 97.1, I think it was Jeff Rieger who was doing the after the post game segment on 97.1. He was like, and he's like, where was this last year or any of the other starts where, like, how many of those elite pitchers, the Scherzers, the even going back to Roger Clemens, those guys may tell their manager and they're coming out when it looked like it would be a pitching change, basically tell them, F off, don't you dare come out here, go back. Where's that from Skubal? Like, I don't understand. Like, I know I'm not going to get into the whole spiel of it now, but it's like, where was this last year, earlier this year? Like, you know what I mean? I don't. It's such mixed signals. But and then to the clip about Bob Nightingale and whatnot, we can discuss that later. But I mean, the 6-man rotation a few weeks ago didn't make sense. Hinch is claiming that's because there are going to be 2 or 3 different time zones coming out of the break, and they're going to be playing for like 12 straight, 13 straight days, something like that, or 10 straight days. So I can kind of see that from a consecutive days standpoint, but Montero got touched up today. I'm sure it wasn't a confidence booster considering how he had not given up a run in 8 straight innings of relief work since being moved to the bullpen, minus I think 1 spot start potentially. But I mean, it's less taxing on the bullpen, which is good essentially because the bullpen's been a weaker area the last 30, 35 days. But that's, I thought, like, it benefited having Montero in there, who had a 3-inning save earlier about a week ago. So I've got mixed feelings about it, but we'll see. They just got to get through it. If they maintain it through the rest of the year, that I will never understand that. You're taking away starts from guys like Framber and Skubal who are getting paid $30+ million each to start, but you're going to go with, Jack, who
Jack's
frankly
getting
for the
paid a
most part
lot
this
too, though.
year, yeah, that's what I'm saying. He hasn't earned his salary this year. He's had a couple good starts recently, but you just know that that's been his pattern for the last 18 to 24 months since being traded to LA originally. He'll have a good start or two, and then he'll just absolutely crap the bed for a start or two. So we'll see. I want to see him over 4 or 5 starts if he can put something together that can kind of ease my nerves, I guess, if you will, because to me, he's still of those, he's the weakest so far, the most inconsistent. I mean, don't get me wrong, Framber's he had the phenomenal start, and then the start before that, absolutely shelled in Houston against his former team or by Houston. So he's been fairly volatile too. But when he's been on, Framber, that is, he's been just as good, if not better than, definitely better than Jack's best stuff this year, but definitely helping lead with School at the top of the rotation. So we'll see how it pans out.
Yeah, and in my last 2 appearances at Comerica Park were both Framber starts, and they were a tale of 2 totally different situations. The last one being the Boston one with the beaning of Trevor Story and all that type of stuff, and then this one, this most recent one was a complete turnaround. So I'm glad to see it. It's usually either Valdez lately or Montero that I'm watching. But yeah, it was good to see him bounce back. And before we move on, while we're talking about Scooble, he had more. I don't know if he had. There's rumors and reports that close family close to him. He's told them that he wants to stay in Detroit for the rest of the season, and he feels that we are a World Series team. Thoughts on that?
The last part's comical. I mean, has he not been around the last 2 years to see what's going on?
Right.
I don't know. I have an issue with him releasing crap through his friends and family because if he would have told them like, "Hey, this is strictly between us. Don't say anything," because he started to make a comment today post game in the locker room about wanting to stay out there, and then he quickly pivoted and said, "Well, I don't want to create a big news story out of it," and then he changed the subject immediately. This guy's two-faced.
Yeah, it's weird.
I am. Yeah. Ever since the offseason last year when he told Boris, terminate all negotiations until the end of next season. And then he goes on that PR tour, goes to the Michigan State basketball game at LCA, sits courtside for the Pistons game, sits, glass side for the Red Wings game for a week. And then he's back in Arizona. This dude doesn't even have a residence in Michigan, does not want to be here. And it's just pressure he's creating from the outside to keep his value up because he's, up until this past week, he had been pitching Scooble-like. Still good numbers, don't get me wrong, but he has not had the years he's been used to the last few, albeit we should expect some regression, but he's had some issues with long balls and against lefties this year, which is weird. But the whole comment thing, I take no stock in that. I mean, I still hope we trade him. I still want something from him. If we keep getting better, I think it makes trading him emphatically more obvious to do, just for the fact that even if we get just one righty bat to help, or even a bullpen arm, honestly, because I got to imagine too that Jansen, it's got to be like, look, man, you keep struggling. I don't think he wants to hang around and not pitch because he's got signed to reach his milestones. He was very open about that, and the Tigers agreed, like, hey, we'll help you out, but it's not anymore.
No contender is going to let him close games, though. That's the problem.
I mean, if the Dodgers want him, I mean, he wanted to go back to LA last year and they didn't offer him, but I mean, I don't know if that would happen, but he might take a lesser role with a more polished team. He might get fewer chances, but I mean, it's less risk. And I think if he truly is chasing one more World Series ring and this is potentially good for him, then I could see that happening. But I mean, to our long-term success for the rest of the year, bless you. I don't see him holding on to high leverage roles, and I don't think he wants to just keep pitching blowouts. You know what I mean? But
well, we're still giving him an opportunity to save games. So, you got Vest out, Finnegan's not exactly just taking over the closer role. So, looks like he's going to continue to get his opportunities unless Kiter Montero comes through and says I want this my job, which is not going to happen. But But yeah, I don't know. I feel like I had some else. Oh, Scooble, yeah. So yeah, yeah. I mean, I put part of that, and I had this conversation online. It's like I put part of this on Scott Harris because he could have put together a stronger team last year, and it would have been we would at least had a better barometer of where the team was. But to say that we're a World Series team right now, I mean, you're kind of living in the moment if that's what you genuinely said. Um, I think this game today, case in point, just because you pitch doesn't mean we're going to win anyway. So if we plan on, making some kind of run, which I don't presume to be a World Series one, unless we sell the farm off, which Scott Harris is not going to do. Um, it doesn't make sense to not get as much as you can for him because the reality is that the Dodgers are if Scooble is truly available, the Dodgers aren't going to let anybody else get it, let alone anybody in the National League, like the Brewers or the Braves or something like that. And they have a nice set of ready now pitchers and high, top notch prospects. And take your pick as long as they're in the top five. At least one of them is in the top five. I'll take any of them. I don't care what position it is, whether it's Zaire Hope or some of the other litany of names because they just do everything well. They sign everybody and they develop players the best too. So it just doesn't make any sense. He's been good since that New York series where him, Mize and Melton back to back all pitched well, and then against the A's this week, he got a win and he pitched pretty well. So, like you said, still giving up the long ball a little too much, but yeah, I just don't think it makes sense. I'm all for keeping Mize and hopefully signing him. He's younger, he's going to be cheaper, and he's pitched relatively well. But Scooble, it's like you want to stay for the rest of the year. That sounds nice, but do you understand what you're saying? You emphasize the rest of this year, and you're not thinking about the fact that like we've already been down this road before, and Scott Harris is just not going to. He's not going to give us enough of a vote of confidence in who he's going to go out and get. So it just doesn't make sense. Let's get to the last break.
Harris screwed up one pitcher trade deadline already in his first year or two with not a Valdi, but the other Erod. That's right. Yeah. So if he does this twice in 4 years, I don't know how you can recover from that.
Yeah, it's too much. It's too much pressure to get it right this time. And he's I don't think he's brought a bat. I don't think he's brought a bat in the because we've sold every year. Even the first year we made the playoffs, we sold, and then last year we bought, but it was all pitching and it was mostly really really bad. So like he can kind of save himself. He can kind of save himself by getting a haul for Scuba. I don't think anybody will be mad at him. I think they'll be much more pissed if we keep Scuba. You get some mediocre players and we don't make the playoffs or we get sent home in the first round. That will be something. That will be a fireable offense. So that wraps that up. I knew that Scuba topic was going to be a spicy one, but let's get to the break and then we'll see what we got going on after this. All right, so you touched on it a little bit. Justin Verlander has been named an honorary All-Star, and he also announced that he will be retiring after this year. But it brings on the question: what was your favorite JV moment? I mean, when I look back on it, we had a whole and kind of covered everything. He did it all, even as an Astro. But keeping it on the Tiger thing, what was your favorite moment from JV?
Like you said, there's so many good ones, and I think it'd be easy to go to that run with the 2012 through 15 with Prince and JD and those guys. I think that's easy to go that route. I think the special moment was his first career no-hitter. You had a Hall of Fame catcher in Ivan Rodriguez out there calling the game. And honestly, that could have helped really unlock the mental aspect of him being a total dog the rest of his career. And Pudge looked more excited than he was. He jumped into JV's arms, and JV's tall, and Pudge jumped at him like a brother, was like, and hugging him. But I think that had to be it, because we hadn't seen a no-hitter from a Tiger pitcher in I don't know how many years, and I would bet to say not since we were alive. And JV came in, got drafted 2004. I would have been heading into if it was that summer, would have been a senior that fall, heading into high school. So we grew up with him in that era, coming out of the 90s when they were awful, barely on TV once a few weeks, if that. But I would say his first no-hitter, because it really helped table everything else that he was able to accomplish the rest of the way. And yeah, we hadn't seen it in a long time. It was the first one at Comerica Park since it opened.
Yeah, and you kind of touched on the other one, and that was in 2011 when he won the MVP and also got the Cy Young Award, where he got the triple crown for the best ERA, most strikeouts, and most innings pitched. I guess, does that make it a triple crown? But
yeah, ERA wins, and yeah,
it can't be innings. Maybe it is. I don't know, but yeah, I mean, that's a crazy feat, and it's probably going to be a very long time, if ever, that we'll see a pitcher win the MVP. But yeah, I mean, this is back when pitchers really pitched a boatload of innings. I mean, he went 24-5. I mean, you don't see guys crack that 20 win mark anymore. So, as we, Scooble was 1-2 Cy Youngs in a row, right? But he's not extending himself to that extent. We're still trying to get him to get past 6 innings in under 100 pitches. So, different generation, both greats in their own right. But JV will always be JV. He's pitched in a World Series. We didn't win it, but he did bring us to a World Series. So, it's a very
two.
Did he get to? Yeah, dang, that's crazy. Wow.
06 and then in the 2012 run.
Right, and obviously, JV, got to Detroit a lot quicker than Scooble did. Scooble was already on his way out the door just before 30, but yeah, well deserved. I didn't really know that they had special honors where you could be named to an all-star, honorary, legends, whatever. How do you describe
the commissioner called it a legend pick? I think this is just a simple one-time exception, honestly, because I think he knew or was told that, hey, he probably saw the Verlander comment, or 2 weeks ago, when he openly said, my body is breaking down. I just don't think I can do this anymore. I think he wanted to do something special because, to your point, we're not going to see pitchers like this anymore going into their 37, 38, 39, 40 years old. Verlander had 8 years of 200-plus innings logged. Think about that. Most guys can't even survive 8 years without going through 2 major injuries now. So those pitchers, along with Scherzer, guys that, who's still hanging on, but you're not going to see that anymore. Guys getting babied too often. The spin rate, velocity, and that aspect of the game has changed. JV used to come in throwing, after his first couple of years, mastered the art of stamina. 93, 94, 95 through the first 5 innings. And then, boy, when he got into the 6th, 7th, 8th innings and needed to get back in a little extra giddy up, boy, was he touching 98, 99, 100. And by the way, in 06, 07, 08, Joel Zumaya came in. So you had Zoom back end with must-see TV, which for a decade, that was the only hashtag you needed. Must-see TV, must be a JV start. And also, you want to throw it back to the early days of Rod and Mario on FSD. So that's how long he's been around. A lot of Tiger fans, obviously, I think understand it. But yeah, definitely exception for him, and a lot of debate and people saying that he, in fact, did have a better career than his buddy Clayton Kershaw.
Yeah. That's a debate that can definitely be made. So we'll see what what the MLB has in store as far as the whole, layout of that in Philly. All right. So we are at the 50-minute mark. I guess this is down the road a little bit. I don't even know when we return, but we certainly have some things to look forward to. The Tigers are still in a race. So who do we have? Who are we facing, I guess, straight out the gate after the All-Star game?
Yeah, so when we leave Philly, they break. It's a weird one series West Coast trip. They play the Angels. It's a little odd logistically to go from Philly to LA. So they see Trout, who is also in the All-Star game, if I'm not mistaken, too, for the American League. So they will see the Angels for 3 starting that Friday. Thursday will be a travel day for everyone. So right now, as it stands, as they've released, pending something with Scuba happening during the All-Star break, Melton will start Friday, Scuba will be Saturday, and Mize will be Sunday. Anything else after that is up in the air. But after that 3-game series, they've turned around and play 3 in Chicago to face the Cubbies. And PCA, NL MVP candidate for the Cubs. For 3, and then they return home to face 4 games against the skidding Kansas City Royals, but not without also Hale MVP, second favorite, Bobby Witt Jr.
Is Bobby Witt back?
I don't know if he's trying to think he was hurt, but he's the hot right now for second in AL MVP odds-on favorite as it stands.
Oh yeah, he must be back there. But yeah, speaking of injuries, Gleyber Torres, I think he's been swinging. He's back swinging the bat and isn't feeling any pain. So he'll probably, I feel like, sometime in July for sure. But likely sometime after the All-Star break. Who do you think gets sent back in exchange for Gleyber Torres, which will be a nice.
Go ahead.
It'll be nice to, I think one of the records that kind of stood out was our record without Gleyber Torres and his ability to, set the table. McGonigal's done an amazing job. Dingler, I think, is batting second quite a bit too, but I do think that it'll be nice to have Gleyber back in the lineup. But who do you think will be sent down in place for him?
It feels like it's inevitable it's going to be Hyu Lee. I mean, he's been the one that's been playing the most over there, and he was the one that got called up. And considering that you've got Valencia up right now, I think that might be a separate conversation because I mentioned it to you the other day offline. This team can't carry 3 catchers forever, and only one so far recently has been the superior defensive player, and that's Dingler. So then you kind of have to look at between Rogers and Valencia and be like, well, who's the better bat right now? While Jake historically have been better defensively, he's been struggling. So right now, if Gleyber comes back, it seems like it's a slam dunk that unfortunately the recent Asian persuasion, Hyu Lee, will be going back down.
So you mentioned the 3 catcher things. Can he not play? Now, granted, Jahmai Jones did play a little bit of outfield. Can he not just be a backup first baseman / DH option?
That could be the case. I did think about that earlier in the show, like thinking maybe he split some time with Torkelson. Maybe if he puts Torque at DH instead of first base. But then again, I don't know who he would put at first base. But Valencia's got the frame, if I'm not mistaken. He's not a small dude, so.
I think Torque, it doesn't make sense to replace. I think Torque is a better defensive first baseman. I mean, first base is more of an afterthought than anything. But, if you're going to – how many days did we see Jahmai Jones DH when the lefty was pitching, when a lefty – because Carey's not going to play the field, so that'll be Ben Malgeri or Vierling in the corner. And then, a lot of times you had Jahmai at DH. So, I think that it could be now. Ben Malgeri has held his own too. I think he's hitting. I don't know if he's hitting over 300, but He certainly he certainly held up his end of the bargain as much as you would like. Yeah, he's hitting 261.
Yeah.
But yeah, obviously Lee's opportunities would drop, drastically when Glaber comes back because he can only either play second base, he can play third, I guess, but he's been kind of shaky in the field. But so is McKinstry. Actually, McKinstry has booted a couple routine plays as well. So, but
he
yeah,
had a bad week for sure with the glove.
Yeah. So, I mean, I guess more than likely it makes sense that if you're going to, if Glaber is going to, come in and start playing second base again, it leaves less of a role for Hyu Lee ultimately because he's not hitting well enough to actually be a DH. So, yeah, it'll probably be him. But, yeah, there's a couple. Yeah, it's either Ben Malgeri, Lee, or James Outman. But that would be determined by whether or not he has options to even be sent down. But he's hitting well under 200. He's hitting like 150.
Problem is he plays the most center field other than Bierling, and that's still a position defensively that we do need because we have no idea what's going to happen with Parker's continued recovery, who hasn't started rehab yet. I would not expect him back probably until mid to late August until he even gets sent down to Lakeland or something to get some work in. So, yeah.
So, Altman has played serviceable center field. It's kind of a weird stat line because you do see 3 home runs, which ain't bad in the amount of at bats that he's had, but in 13 RBIs. Now, some of those might have came with the Twins as well, but yeah, 152, pretty much a 2 outcome guy. Either it's going to be a home run or it's going to be a strikeout. So,
I'd be fine outright. Just releasing him outright if he has no options. It's like, all right, thanks. You filled the need for us for a month and a half or so, but I think you let Malgeri and Valencia ride it out.
And then let Bierling play center field every day. I mean, he plays center field today, I think, right?
I mean, Vierling's played. McKinstry's
Outman played. I think Outman's
played the most center field for sure. At some point, you got to start taking a chance here because you can't just keep sending guys down who are playing well just because X player is back healthy. To this point, he has not had a good year offensively, at least I'll say that. But he's filled the need that we had an immediate void for. So,
yeah. So, yeah, I don't know. I think Outman probably hangs around until Meadows comes back, unless they finally pull the trigger on bringing Max Clark up. So, but yeah, I know one thing for certain. I cannot see Valencia getting sent back in place of Torres.
I thought about Rogers being sent down too.
Thought
about it? You can't carry 3 catchers, but I mean, in the pecking order of Torres with Glaber, I think Hyu Lee is the first and really only a high percentage option to send down. Because to your point, it's McKinstry, McGonigal, and Colt all playing left side infield after that. If Glaber doesn't start, Colt might get the start at second. But to your point, Hyu Lee's not really a phenomenal hitter. He's hit well, but not enough to really, to your point about Valencia coming in hot, not enough, I think, to hold a roster spot in an already overloaded infield.
Yeah, and it's, the OPS is still, from what I recall, I think it's still under 700, so still below league average. But I mean, 255, I'm not mad at that. It's about 100 points more than Outman. So
he's had a good July. He's had a very good July. He had a string of, I don't know how many games in a row where he had hits. I mean, it wasn't, to your point, killing it with average, but I mean, if you're getting on once a game, you're putting yourself in a position to be driven in at that point. Frankly, that's all they care about. Get in first to third, get on first to third, and touch home plate. That's the name of the game for them right now. Keep it simple.
And sometimes I forget how young he is, and how young he was when he got here. I mean, he's probably like 19 years old. He's been in the system a while. Still only just turned 23 a couple months ago. So, You know, he'll be all
Dare we
right. He's
say
still.
trade chip?
Ah, God, I don't want to think. I don't want to think like that. I don't want to think like that.
And we've got all the time now. We got a couple weeks before the trade deadline. I think there's more potential, but probably less probability of things like that happening, at least with him. Unless it's in the Scooble trade. That'd be crazy. But we'll see.
All right. I mean, the one thing that you can say is he does have a sample size to where people can see what he can do at the major league level. There's not as much of a question about that. But he's been here just long enough for the fans to, start loving him. So it's like, no, can't be trading away some of the fan favorites out here. So, but yeah, we all know Scott Harris is not selling off any of his prospects. So, we'll see. We'll see. It's a part of me hates the All-Star. I won't say I hate the All-Star break, but I do miss watching my team play. So I can't wait for us to get back and get back to real, legitimate baseball. So, but like I said, we're gonna crack an hour, find a way to crack an hour, one way or another. So we are at that point. Subscribe to the channel, folks. What's that? Oh, what did I do?
Who do you think's winning the All-Star game in itself, American or National League?
Gotta go American. Why
Recency
not?
bias accepted.
Hopefully, one thing that if there's anything to talk about, let's hope that our All-Stars do better than last year because they were all terrible. The hitters didn't get a hit. Mize got torched, I want to say. Scooble, I think, got torched too. So, we got McGonigal, Dingler, and Green representing this year. I'm almost certain that McGonigal is going to do something. More high praise from the elites. Bryce Harper said, "I wish he was in Philly right now." I said, "Wow, that's a bold thing to say," but yeah, I mean, he's that good. He's him and Green are the first two Tigers to in the same year, I think, have over 90 hits or something like that. It was some type of statistic.
McGonigal has 98 and Green has 99. They're both the first with 90 plus each as teammates for Detroit.
Before the All-Star break. So once again, another reoccurring theme of this is your core. They're young. They have already started being acknowledged by the league and by the fans to be all-stars, and one of them's locked down for certain. So encouraging things to see from the team. But yeah, let's try to get some hits this time around and look better out there, and just bring better energy into the second half, because we also got destroyed by Seattle heading into the break too. So want to set a better precedent at the game. So I'm going with the American League. McGonigal's going home. He's definitely going to show out for the home crowd, and I'm just going to enjoy it. Not about winning and losing, that's for sure. But yeah, any other closing words before we wrap this thing up and get up out of here?
Yeah, I'm going to agree with you. I'm going to say American League wins. It's going to be off a Dylan Dingler clutch late inning hit like he's been doing all year. Mr. Small Vote MVP. And I'm going to go with the hometown kid in the home run derby, the doppelganger, Kyle Schwarber. I got to go with him in Philly. He's already won one, and the crowd's gonna be rocking. McGonigal is gonna be rooting for him too. So as a Philly boy himself, so it'll be fun. Can't wait to see it. It's gonna be hot. I mean, here it's gonna be Monday, Tuesday, 95 to 100. So can't imagine what it's gonna be like in Philly. But the lights will be bright for sure. Just hoping, like you said, for some good productivity from the boys representing the Old English D.
Absolutely. So we'll be back next Sunday. No, the game is next Sunday.
No,
the game is
coming up here on Tuesday, I believe. Yeah, because Monday's usually their celebrity stuff, their home run derby, and then All-Star games either Tuesday or Wednesday, unless they get 2 days of travel. But I'll have to double check on that. But yeah, definitely not immediately right on Monday.
So when is the So we probably won't have anything to talk about this upcoming Sunday, maybe, because they're not back until. Oh, so we're back on Friday. Okay,
Yeah,
we're back on Friday.
The
All
Angels.
right.
Yeah.
All right, so possibly a shortened show. We'll of course recap the All-Star game, and then recap the Angels series, and then get you guys up out of here. So stay tuned for next Sunday. You don't get no breaks with us. We're back. See y'all next week.
Get your lick back. If a nugget gon' do something, ain't no chit chat. Better stay up out the way, don't get your shit splat. Stop letting shit slide and get your lick